Warning, this one is going to be long, scripted, and political. Sorry, not sorry. But first, on this wonderful Easter Sunday, let us begin with a swell anecdote. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. The Easter anecdote goes something like this. Prepare to be shocked, awed, and excited. So in the house, we had one rock-hard loaf of bread that we had no idea how to rescue. Last night, as we were heading to midnight, my sister blurted out, "I managed to revive the bread!" To which I brilliantly replied, "Well, it is Yeaster after all." Classic, right? Yeast bread, revive, get it? Oh, anyway, at least it entertained me. Anywho, happy Easter, y'all. Day of resurrection. Day that Jesus was born again, all nice and fresh and new. To me, this day signals the resurrection of mankind, or womankind, or just kind. I guess the resurrection of all things that make us human and humane, and the things that connect us and our true nature as creatures of heaven and earth. Because, hard as it may be to believe, I don't think we were made to act as robots or cogs or hamsters in any type of wheel, or as indentured servants, which most of us seem to be buying into and accepting. What I've been hearing and reading often, well, really quite a lot on all kinds of platforms, is when will things go back to normal? To which the answer more often than not is never. And this is not my answer. This is apparently the answer that most people, including experts, give. And realistically, things will never go back to the way they were before. Nobody knows what's ahead, and that of course is very scary. But I, for one, am not going to be jumping on the "let's get back to the way things were" bandwagon. What exactly was so good about the way we were before Corona kicked our collective behinds? So, let's see. Was it pollution? Was it the global warming? Was it the natural disasters, which were provoked at least in part by human activity? Was it the hours and days spent in cubicles with virtual strangers we did not choose to spend time with? Was it the wonderful, brilliant fatigue, the diseases, the burnout resulting from stress and overwork? Or the lack of time and energy to pursue our interests and leisure activities with friends and family? Or the crazy debt from mortgages, from credit cards, student loans, and you name it? Was it the wonderful and also desirable alienation, isolation, disconnectedness, and depression? Or was it, one of my personal favorites, the constant fear and threat of crime, violence, and deprivation? Do you want to go back to that world? Because I sure as heck don't. Just as a little example of fun times in this beautiful social construct that we call normal, my family has had to move across the world twice. And no, it wasn't a lifestyle choice. We're not British people going to the Canary Islands to live out our southern fantasies. We had to escape war the first time, and the second time we had to up and leave and change again because of the impossibility of staying afloat after the 2008 financial crisis. Both events were caused by people in power, by a greedy, immoral minority. And I, for one, would really like to know how much longer we will accept this system that deprives us of any tangible power, us the people, making us, to be poetic about it, puny pawns in someone else's game of chess. And what can you do if you want a different world? Obviously, I don't have the answer. I'm not exactly a guru, or I don't have a crystal ball, but I sure as hell am thinking about it. I'm giving it a lot of thought, and I do intend to be a lot more politically active in the future. Now that's something that's, tangible and earthly, but we don't have to wait to take action. We don't have to feel completely powerless and disenfranchised in all this that's going on. As you may have seen and heard in previous videos, I am trying to do my best, and I am doing my part every day by loving more, being kinder, being more patient than probably ever before, and probably more than I thought I could be in these circumstances. I am sending Reiki to those I love, and love and light to those I don't even know. I am meditating. I am visualizing the world that I want. So I'm doing my part, I believe, by focusing on a different reality that is entirely possible if many of us come together to work towards the same goal. Whether it be on a practical sort of earth-based level, or energetically, or ideally both. And without sounding too activist and preachy or what have you, I do want to say, for me, this is a call to action. I think we need to strike while the iron is hot, and there is no room for despondency here. I think for those of us who want a different world, our time has come, and I don't know when or if another opportunity will present itself. So even if it doesn't necessarily look like a time of opportunity, I do see it as such. And obviously I want the coronavirus to be gone, I want people to be well, I want people to have enough to eat and to have freedom, but I don't want to go back to the way things were, because the world was very sick, and even if some of us weren't cognizant of that. So I would like to end this preachy video with an excerpt from a book called Plameni Inquisitori, or as a layman's translation, Fiery Inquisitors, by a well-loved Croatian author called Marija Jurić-Zagorka, who, by the way, is my absolute idol and role model. Sadly, this amazing author has never, as far as I'm aware, never been translated into English. So please excuse my somewhat approximative attempt that really does not fully do her justice. So the excerpt I'm going to read, the book is set in the Middle Ages, and this particular passage talks about a self-proclaimed inquisitor called Konrad, who is busy, as they often were, inflicting injustice on innocent villagers accused of heresy. I will only read the English translation, and for anybody interested in the original, I'll copy the original text below. I do ask that you bear with me, as this message, I believe, is truly important. So please take a moment to think about these words before you click off and go back to whatever you were doing before. It's something to meditate upon, and to ask yourself, how accurate a reflection of our current society is this passage, and are we okay with it continuing to reflect our reality, or continuing to describe the reality we live in? So this is my beautiful attempt at translating. So it says, Konrad's men forced the villagers to kneel around the fiery pyre and wait. Their orders are obeyed by all. Born into subservience, bred to submit, the peasants travel through life bound by invisible shackles. Forever enslaved by their fear of princes and finely attired men with sharp swords, they fall to their knees broken. Lips pressed shut, they remain silent and still. Something begins to stir in their souls. A feeling of great, overwhelming injustice. The feeling is palpable. It is in the air, the sun, the trees, the soil, and the grass beneath their knees. All around them and inside them. Yet they remain silent. Fear, the eternal fear of a slave, has stilled their heartbeats as the flames of the pyre rise to the skies. The enslaved serfs shiver in the heat of the sun and flames. Konrad's men are about to set fire to the few roofs spared by the storm. Tumbling out of the sky, moving across the land, the storm is the only thing that can bring them peace. All they can do now is yield, bow their heads, and give thanks for their lives of struggle and strife. So I ask you, is this really the normal that we want to go back to? I hope not. Thank you, and I love you.